very, 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 very first gamer podcast. I'm here with my good friend Lane. Well, what do you have to say about that? Huh? They're just.
Oh, what do I have to say? Oh,
yeah.
Hi, everyone on the YouTubes. You've probably never seen me before. It's probably for good reason. I'm someone that should never be allowed on the internet. So if I say anything that offends anybody, I don't give a fuck. That's the reason why I shouldn't be allowed.
Well, shit. I mean, come on now. You believe you shouldn't be online. Why you shouldn't be online?
Why should I be? Well, I've had a bad habit of pissing a lot of people off because I don't have a filter, and for good reason. I don't think that anybody should have a filter for literally anything. I get pissed off all the time when people are like, you gotta watch what you say, man. Everybody thinks that way. I'm like, if people can't take it whenever other people talk about different ideals, I don't give a fuck. They need to like grow the fuck up. That's ridiculous. I don't give a shit.
Well, you know what? It's just about the time you just gotta say fuck it, and who cares what everybody thinks? I mean, that's why I called it talking shit. I mean, we talk shit about everything and anything. Your favorite topic is, of course, politics.
Oh god, don't get me started. Nobody
they get me started. Come on! We're doing it.
You're not exactly.
Oh, Christ. Alright, first off, if you're one of those fuckers that are riding in like the streets and like you're the one blocking traffic, I'm gonna run you over, and I don't care who like tries to pull my ass over for me doing it. If you're gonna like constantly block traffic and stop me from getting to work or my college fucking exams, fuck you. I hate you and everything you stand for. Jesus Christ. It's fucking illegal. Some people don't realize that. It's illegal to do that shit. You're blocking a main source of traffic, and I bet you none of them. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to like file a petition, like that you're supposed to inform the authorities that you're gonna protest, and if it's like a major publicated area, because they're gonna have to redirect the flow of traffic. And if you don't do that, it's a form of illegal protest, and you're gonna get arrested for it.
But if you think,
like, let logic speak for itself.
But if you think about it, you know, all these protesters, especially, you know, with our president Trump, you know, I mean, they're saying, oh, Trump is bad, and now it's turned to racism and all that shit. And continuing on from what you're saying about like illegal protests, but if those fuckers deserve to get ran over, you know, fine, so be it. I mean, who can afford to protest nowadays? They're missing work to support their families or themselves to fucking protest. Okay, yeah, in America we have the First Amendment, freedom of speech. We get that, you know?
And go protest, it's fine, you know, fucking congratulations, more power to you. But if you show up the next day and they tell you you're relieved of duty and you're sitting there wondering why, oh, it's just like discrimination or something. No, it's because you left work and they're forced to find somebody else because in your leave of absence, or they're forced to give somebody else your work, and they find out that you're not worth your paycheck, so they let you go because you're not dependable. I mean, like, it's a two-way street. You can't have it both ways. It's like, okay, yeah, you leave work, or you don't show up to work to go to one of these protests that obviously don't make a fucking shit difference, and then you show up the next day, you're like, oh, where's my job? I'm ready to work today. You know, International Women's Day, Women's March, let's go. And then you find out that you don't have a job tomorrow, and now you gotta feed your 3 kids. What are you gonna do?
Right, exactly. I mean, seriously, it's like, okay, I get, you know, the women's movement and all that shit, but I'm just so pissed that people like expect that, you know, people will listen. Only thing you're doing is just getting on the news, just telling them how fucking retarded you are. You know?
Yeah, that's like the big problem that I've had even like recently is like whenever I see people like like they basically harass the news producers and they're like filming them instead of filming like an actual good thing, like, you know, Salvation Army is like brought down, has gave people homes, or You know, there's been like a substantial decrease in like suicide rates. You know, nobody talks about that. All they want is like eye-popping news stories and whatever will get the front headlines, and that mostly includes, you know, a bunch of, you know, liberal women. I'm sorry to say, I'm sorry, not sorry, get fucked. Is whenever like they sit there and legit harass producers to listen to whatever they're talking about, and most of the time it's not anything good. It's just that, listen to me because I'm a woman. Fuck you. It's like, that's ridiculous. And then they come up and they start explaining to you, it's like, well, listen, our society is like really demeaning to women, and then whenever they get, then going on the line that they don't know what they're talking about, and they're just doing this for naught, is whenever they get confronted with, well, how is it demeaning to women? You know, you have the open choice to like not work if you don't want to work, to go take care of your kids, like, or like, oh, you have the right to not have kids, and you can like progress your career. And in STEM fields, women are 3-to-1 favored over men. So like, how are they discriminated against? Well, you see, wage gap. No, I hate it. That's like that's the biggest pet peeve I've ever had in argument. It's when they pull the wage gap. It's not. There's no such thing. The reason why they even get any sort of like case study or whatever the fuck it's called, bullshit is what I like to call it, from like all these statistics that are made up and doesn't make sense. They get the statistics from whatever, like they compile like the entirety of American jobs, right? Every single job that's in America that's counted not as a part-time, as a full-time job. They don't count part-time, they count that as unemployed. Literally. Full-time job rates, women don't go for more demanding jobs, and like that's how it is. Like, people get pissed off all the time, like, oh, Wayne, you're fucking sexist. I'm like, no, I'm telling you what the statistics show. These are guys who watch like fucking flow rates of what businesses are thriving currently. This is people who watch the stock rates for a living. These are people who make money off the stock rates, who are telling me this, and I'm telling to you, and you're just refusing to accept it because it has something to do about the negative impact of what choices people make. And you're like, it doesn't matter what choice then they tell me it's like, it shouldn't matter what choices they make. Well, yeah, if it doesn't, then you're sitting here telling me that somebody who goes over and flips burgers at McDonald's should be making the same as this dude who has a doctorate, or this woman that has a doctorate in like chemical engineering or nuclear science or theoretical science. You're telling me that they should make the same as a burger flipper.
Yeah, that's what they're saying right now as of today. That's what they want nowadays. They want fucking people to burger flippers to make as much money as like somebody has a degree. Like, I don't have a degree myself. The only thing I have is certificate. I have a certificate as a welder. Right. But yet, I make, like, the average welder makes approximately like $16 an hour.
Right.
And now they want burger flippers to make that much money. I mean, come on. You know, I am. It's sad because like welders like yourself, like those are people that are highly demanded because nobody wants to weld, nobody wants to be in the sewage industry, nobody wants to take trash for a living, nobody wants to do these labor like construction contracts, nobody wants to do these labor infested jobs that pay a lot of fucking money, and they're sitting there like, I'm not going to do those jobs. No, but they make so much money, they make all these benefits that people would thrive on if they had the chance to get, and they don't want to do it because they're like, it's grody, it's work. I don't want to do that. Okay, I just want to sit back and I want to do whatever the hell I want to do and make the same amount of money as the person who is over here welding together, you know, oil pipes underneath the ocean. That's fucking ridiculous. No, that's not gonna happen. Oh, nowadays it's going to fucking happen, unfortunately, and we all know that because excuse me. Because they're gonna have all these protesters, you know, trying to get their way, you know, and that's unfortunate. And because, you know, some people just fucking give in. Oh.
Caramel. That'd be it down here. Time to see Dijkstra.
And it's just complete fucking utterly bullshit that, you know, I'm working my ass off every single fucking day just to fucking get compared to a burger flipper.
Dandelion must have loaded the treasure onto a
Right, like some fucking like high school dude who's like in his who's like 17, who's sitting there complaining that he's making only $15 an hour, and it's like, man, my man, you don't know what bills are. You've never had to pay a bill and I guarantee you they haven't had to pay bills if they're working at McDonald's. That's just how it is. If they're around, you know, the 17 teenage group, and they're sitting there like, oh, I'm just not making enough money, man. And I'm like, $15 an hour is ridiculous, like for here, because in the state of Texas, you know, like minimum wage is like $7.25, which I completely understand. Like, I'm lucky that I was able to get paid at $8 an hour at one point. Like, it's ridiculous, and I think even that's a little too much. Like, because then everything starts because inflation starts happening, everything starts getting raised in prices, and you're sitting there and you're wondering why a box of ramen costs $2 whenever it was like 75 cents the other day. It's like, that's because people are like, here, I want to be paid $20 an hour to fucking drop down some french fries in a vat of oil. No, it's ridiculous.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's...
I do.
You know, okay, every time I go into work, I'm working with pipes for water treatment plants, water sewage, everything that's under the sun. There's pipes that's probably bigger than an average person's house. That weighs about close to 5 tons, if not more.
Seems to me
If one of those fucking things straps busts, and if I'm like near it, I could get killed instantly or seriously injured on the job.
Any idea what it contains?
But yet, burger flipping, okay, what's the worst thing you can do? Get. Oh, burn. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little story. When my very first job was working at McDonald's.
Nor am I. Just saying what I found.
I had a concussion
Sugar.
when I was working at McDonald's. What happened was I was severely dehydrated on the job because I played some backyard football with my friends. Then I went to work, and I was at work, you know, doing my job, flipping burgers, and I blacked out. Next thing I remember, I was in the hospital. Then I blacked out again, and I was in my mom's car. And I asked what the fuck happened. She said that they said I was at work and I went to get a drink of water. I stood at the end of the hallway. Before the water hit my lips, I dropped. I passed out and I got a concussion. So, but yet I was still making like $5-6 an hour, and that was a lot back then. That was like, I don't know, 13-14 years ago. So, and that to me, having a job, paying my cell phone bill, shit like that was amazing. You know, having a job, that's experience. And yet nowadays, these fuckers expected to get paid $15-16 an hour just to fucking say, "Can I take your order? Do you want extra fries with that? You want fries with that?" Yeah, fuck that. I'm sorry, no.
And the people are wondering, like, oh, where's all the jobs going for, like, this department? It's like, because you're demanding you get paid so much fucking money that they're replacing you with they're replacing you with robots. It's like whenever you pull up to, like, a McDonald's, like, drive-through, and, like, 90% of the time you hear the same thing, like, oh, hi, welcome to McDonald's, I'm gonna take your order. That's like, that is every audio recording. That's not a person 90% of the time.
Seriously?
Yes, that is an audio recording. Whenever they actually start repeating your order back to you, that's when it's the real person. Whenever they like do the opening, that's not really a person. That's a fucking robot. It's a pre-recorded message that nobody knows anymore because it's not a real person. Nobody realizes that. It's like, no, it's because you're over here saying you want $15 an hour at fucking working Burger King. DK, have it your way. Congratulations, now robot's taking your job. Like, what do you want me to do about it?
Wow, man! Honestly, I didn't know about that. I didn't realize it was a you know, pre-recorded message.
Not many people do. That's the sad part.
Huh, weird. I guess we learn something new every day. Wow, we're quiet now. I mean, fuck.
Like, going back, I'm gonna go back to politics, because, like, that's where I thrive the most, right? Fucking historian, I want to be one. Anyways.
You should be a historian,
like,
dude.
A lot, I've contemplated, it's either that, or I want to be, like, it's either I want to, like, become a history professor, or I want to, go into culinary arts, because, like, those are two things that I really love, because I love cooking. Like, that's not just because I've been a shorter cook all my life, that's because I actually enjoy it, and I actually love seeing when people compliment me and say this is one of the best burgers I've ever had, because they usually, when I worked at, like, this last job I had was the first time I've worked at a job that's, like, a lower, like, more communal based. It's not, you know, a giant, huge corporation, so I was able to do it a little bit different. I was able to do it my own way, and, like, I used to put, like, I used to, take a little bit of influence from Julia Child. I used to put butter in, like, every fucking thing I made because it made it more tasty. It had more flavor than it did, even if I didn't. So, whenever I have people come up to me and say this is one of the best burgers I've ever had, you know, it makes me happy. It makes me happy that I'm able to do something better than the average Joe. So that's one of my favorite things. Not
Your
to mention
secret ingredient?
Like my fucking idol is butter. Yes, it's
butter.
Believe it or not.
Butter.
Like, people ask me, it's like, who's your motivation for whatever you do? I'm like, honestly, if I had to be truthful, it's, you know, Gordon Ramsay, because that's my dream job. Is if I could be a sous chef or work at one of his restaurants, my life will be set. Like, that's one of my greatest things I could ever do. It's one of my greatest aspirations. Either that, or I become the head librarian at the Library of Congress. Like, it's either or, I would die. Like, those are two major jobs I would love to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bomb part.
But, like, it's like whenever, anyways, I got off track. People talk about, like, one of the main things recently is, like, you know, society is discriminating against, like, the way people live their lives. Like, they won't let them, if they don't fit in a certain status quo, let them live the way they want. And I'm like, well, to be fair, that's the way it is everywhere, but here in the United States, it's not so much potent because everybody can pretty much do whatever the hell they want, because that's what we're founded off of. Whatever the hell we want. And then I have people that come up to me and say, like, well, Wayne, you know that, like, Trump hates gay people, right? I'm like, why? Where does it say that? Like, you know, he's Republican, so, you know, he hates gays. I'm like, no.
Republicans do not hate gays.
No, they don't hate me. They don't hate gays. I'm sorry. No, they don't. And everybody gets real pissy because they're like, no, they do. They just don't say it. I'm like, what? If they don't fucking say it, then they don't fucking hate them. What? You're dumb. One of the biggest tips I've ever had is whenever somebody was coming up to me and they were like, oh, Lane, you know, like, he doesn't support him. He doesn't support anything to do. And I told him, I was like, well, you know, he's the only presidential candidate that's gone in openly supporting gay marriage, right?
Right.
They're like, no, Obama did. No, he didn't. He passed it during his second tenure. He did not openly go in saying that he supported gay marriage. He did it for the vote. Nobody believes that. It's like, no, he's not a kind-hearted soul. He did that because he wanted your fucking vote. He's nothing more than a friendly politician. Like, people can call me racist all they want. I'm like, it's not because he's black. I don't care about the color of his skin. I don't care about his ethnicity. If he's a scumbag, I'm gonna call him a scumbag and take him like he is. That doesn't matter to me what your fucking ethnicity is.
By the way, Caleb Pack 0503 said, I do.
Passed by on the way in.
So you did
I do what? Sorry.
He said just I do. It must have during a conversation that we missed. So do apologize, Caleb. So anyways, yeah.
Fine. Where should I start?
But like, it's never clicked with me whenever people openly sit there and talk about how, like, oh, you know, the Democratic Party is one of the greatest parties in the world. I'm like, how? They're corrupt out the ass. They don't care about anybody but themselves. If they don't make money off of you and your living, they don't care about you. Like, nobody believes that. It's like, honey, if you don't have dollar signs, by your name, they don't care about your well-being. Like, they'll never will. The only reason why they even say they're sticking up for minorities is so they can get the minority vote. How many times have you seen a Democratic politician walk into like Detroit or Chicago and say that they're here to help all minorities that live there? They're here to help rebuild the town. You know, that sounds all good all on paper when they talk about doing it. But the second the election comes out, they pull out and they never do what they never own up to what they say they're doing. That's the way it is every single time, every single election year. And they only show up around election years. All they want is your vote.
That's all they want.
There's a woman who snuck a camera into a what was it? It was a meeting with Michelle Obama and like I think it was, I don't know where it was. I don't know if it was Chicago or not. But she snuck a camera in. She recorded her talking about like what the plans were, and she said no matter what, you always have to vote Democrat, no matter what. Didn't give any other reason but that. And the lady went on in the video whenever she got the GoPro back in her car. She said that like, I have voted Democrat for years, and after this meeting, I don't think I'll ever sign my name as Democrat ever again. And I'm like, kudos, because like that shit's ridiculous. That's what they do all the time. They sit there and give all these bright, shiny promises, and then they rob you because they don't care. You know, they say that the progressive movement, they're here to help everyone. No. They're here to help fill their pockets with your money. That's the way it is.
And it's always going to be like that. And we all know that. But people just don't fucking realize that excuse me. Damn fucking cold, I tell ya. And people just don't fucking realize it nowadays that they're just out there to get your vote and get your fucking money. You know, don't get me wrong, I haven't fucking, I shouldn't really say this, but I haven't voted in quite some time because due to the fact it's fucking pointless nowadays. You know, all politicians are fucking liars and bullshitters, you know? So it's just kind of like, what the fuck? So it's just nowadays it just makes shit fucking pointless. Whatever we do or say, you know, like you said before, everything looks fucking awesome on paper, but when they get into office, it's like, what the fuck happened, you know? So that's another reason why I do like Trump. Yes, I like Trump. He says shit right to your face. He doesn't give two shits what you think. He's an asshole, but he's a fucking asshole that everybody, you know, loves to hate. You know? But he makes a lot of good points in some of his speeches that he makes, if you really pay attention. You know? I mean, seriously. But
like,
hey,
I was never the big Trump supporter whenever like the election was first coming off. First off, I wanted Marco Rubio to advance. Like, that was my guy who I was picking if I had to go vote for the Republican Party. You know, me being a libertarian, people expect me to vote for Gary Johnson. I'm not going to because Gary fucking sucks. He's not a real libertarian. But no, garbage. Get somebody else in office. If you want to run somebody for the Libertarian Party, get the fuck out of here, Gary. Hell no. I wanted Marco Rubio because, like, I understood a lot of what he was talking about. You know, he wanted, you know, immigration reform. He wanted a lot of these policies that I agreed with. And then whenever him and Trump were clashing, you know, Trump teamed up with, what was it? It was Ted Cruz, and they slandered the fuck out of him. I was like, all right, that's a bit red flagish. I don't know if I'm down with that.
right.
But then I saw what Trump was rooting for, right? I saw what his policies were, you know, immigration reform, you know, tax cuts for everybody. And like that's something I've wanted for a while because like most of my family's got the fucking taxes. Like that's the way it's always been. So like it's and it's sad because they're talking about like fucking Bernie Sanders top 1 and 2% or the 1/10 of 1%, you know, has run this country. I'm like, Bernie, you've been a fucking couch surfer since before your 40s. That's all you've ever done is be a couch surfer and like go to protests and not made money. That's all you've ever done. And then suddenly you get fucking these giant funds that you don't know where it came from, and you're like, oh, you know, I know what I'm talking about. I'm a politician. I know what it's like to have money. Yeah, and then you go, you campaign for like all these big giant industries and companies to like give away their money practically, right, to people, and then you sit in there and you have like what was it, like 2 beachfront houses, like 4 houses in total, fucking 4 McMansions over here. Yeah, right. You're not a person with people. You don't care. You know, you're just getting bribed, like all of them. You're not for anybody. That was my big thing with Trump when I came to realize, because he hasn't been bribed. All of his money is his. You know, he's not taking the presidential paycheck. He's not doing that. He has his own money. He like fucking, he campaigned by himself. He funded his own campaign by himself. He didn't take any, you know, super PACs or crowd funds. He's been able to do it all himself. And that's the reason why I think he's the least corrupt, if not corrupt out of all of them, because, you know, he's not in the pockets of anybody. He's speaking his mind in the way he wants to speak it.
Right.
How can I be?
You know, I agree with everything he's done. You know, you can never agree with anything.
You play Gwent, don't you?
Like, I don't agree that he's done all these executive orders, like executive actions. I didn't like when Obama did it. I don't like it when Trump does it. Like, it's not a cool thing when you go over people's heads. Like, I've never been one to agree with that. Like in the Cuban, and not the Cuban. Sorry, I'm thinking about something different. When the Syrian missile strikes, like the cruise missile. I never thought that was a good idea either. I thought that was awful. I'm like, well, get ready for gas prices to be raised, fucking skyrocketed out the roof. You know, that's not a good thing either. That I enjoy. No.
Right.
But you know, he's done a lot of good too. You know, like he's given people a lot of jobs. He's brought most jobs back recently that most any recent president in the past like couple decades than I can remember. I'm sure that anybody can remember.
Right.
He's given people a lot of chances. He's created a lot more jobs, you know, the Obama administration never did, or the Bush administration never did so far, and he's not even in his second tenure yet. So, like, I think it's a good thing he's in office. You know, people argue with me and say that his campaign's built on hate or whatever the fuck that fucking means. Like, it's ridiculous. Whenever people just sidesweep everything he's done and say, oh, his campaign's built on hate. And that's it. That's how they end the conversation. It's like, all the good he's done, you're gonna say that like he's the awful politician. He's awful.
Fuck.
Because he's built on hate. He's not built on hate. You know, he's not. I don't understand why. George Soros came over and told you to say that, but he's not. It's ridiculous that you would even think such a thing.
Right. I think people are just saying he's based off of hate because it's a simple fact that, you know, how just try to get right of everybody, you know. That's just my own opinion, you know. It's like, how can you get someone into a big old riot by just talking shit? You know, say he's based off of hate and all that sort of shit, you know. So think about that.
Like, one of my biggest takeaways from like the entire campaign trail was I found a lot of like they're not politicians, but they're a lot of professional provocateurs, as like to call themselves. You know, like Gavin McInnes, Milo Yiannopoulos, Ben Shapiro. Like, I've started following them ever since like the campaign trail for Trump. So, ever since I got behind it like a few years ago, and a couple years ago, and I started to realize, you know, like everything he does isn't bad. You know, it's not everything is tumorous as like the mainstream media likes to produce. You know, he's not a bad guy. They just write him off as one because so they can have more views, and so they can get the backs of the people. That's all they want. And it's like, it's through them that I've started to realize that I'm thinking more of like an individual's point of view. I'm starting to think for myself, not more for the group. Well, I think for the group, but I think of like in my personal interests, I don't let somebody speak for me, because that never ends well for me. Then you start getting people power hungry and desperate and destitute for everything to float their way, and I've never been one for that, because I think that's ridiculous.
Right.
So if I can take away anything from this campaign trail, it's that I've learned to think for myself as an individual.
Still out to beat me?
Ah.
So play me. Stake a unique card, maybe?
Why not?
I don't know. There's something I wanted to say. Christ, what was it? I just totally forgot right now. It just came right into mind. Oh, here's one. What about these accusations about a person fucking... You heard it all over the news, haven't you? About people fucking accusing someone for sexual assaulting.
Right. That's something that's always been really shot in my mind. Whenever, because like, what is sexual assault? Like, it changes like the fucking like description of it. The fucking definition of sexual assault changes from person to person, because there's really no law that dictates what that is. And so when somebody screams out rape and you haven't touched them or laid anything to say that you were going to, you know, they get thrown in jail. It's like, what are you gonna do? Like, it's gotten to the point where somebody can just legit go up to you and say, hey, I don't like you, you know, you sexually assaulted me because you looked at me for 5 seconds.
Right.
I was like, what the fuck is that? It's ridiculous. It's what it is. I never understood it. It's psychoticness.
It's basically what it is, man. And it just seems like it's just a fucking topic nowadays, you know? You know, and it's fucking sad. So it's just kind of like, well, what the fuck do you want them to do? You know?
Like, and, yeah. And like, the worst thing I've ever heard is like, well, I know them. I know, like, it's Johnny over here. Like, somebody's saying Johnny raped this girl that he's never seen. Like, he's like, I know Johnny. Like, I don't... Like, I've never pictured him as somebody to do that, and like, I was hanging out with him whenever you said that he did this thing. And they're like, well, you can't just say you know them and write that off, like, that's ridiculous. And yet, they're over here whenever somebody accuses her, like, the girl or the guy, of, falsely accusing, them for raping them, or, like, sexually assaulting them, like, well, I know Jenny, or I know James, they would never do that. It's like, well, you did the same thing! You're strawmanning so hard. You're over here being a hypocritical little fuck, and you're taking exactly what you told me not to do and doing it yourself. Like, that doesn't float. That's not how it works.
I know.
That's been my biggest... That's why I tend not to get in those arguments, because it just... I'll just get really heated, really flustered. Nobody will take me seriously because how pissed off I am. I'm just like, there's no point, because I'm just gonna make you feel really fucking dumb. So there's no point in me doing that. It's like, contrary to popular belief, I don't do it to piss people off or make them seem dumb. I want to get them thinking. I want them to think that, you know, oh, maybe my ideals are flawed, or like maybe the way I perceive this certain subject is wrong. Like, you know, I'm here to make them think. I'm not here to make them think, oh, man, he's just being a dick, he wants to prove me wrong, he's saying fuck me and everything I stand for. No. I want you to think, because I'm not saying your idea is wrong while I am. But, yeah, I'm not saying your idea is wrong, but it's flawed, and you need to realize that it is. It's not backed up through factual information, it's backed up through feelings and the way you feel about it. It's not, there's no, like, dictated way to think. I'm not saying there is, but you need to have factual evidence if you're, like, throw something like that on somebody.
Right, agreed. But it's just a shitty thing is, it happened, like, over 10 years ago. It's like, why did you speak up then?
Oh, because nobody paid me money.
Yeah, that... Right. And it's just fucking sad. It's just like... how can I say this? Fucking... It's just nowadays, it's just like... Oh, okay, let's say a person came up to me and sexually harassed me. I didn't say shit. You know, let's just say you. I'm just putting you as an example because, well, you're here. And let's just say, okay, oh, Lane has sexually harassed me. Okay, I don't say anything. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. So now 10 years have passed by. You got all rich and famous, and say as a rich and famous YouTuber, or okay, cook. You became you became just like Gordon Ramsay, okay? And I want to fuck up your life because you fucking sexually harassed me 10 years ago. You know?
You absolutely must try it. But afterwards, please place the bottle back where you found it.
And
like, it's all fine and dandy if somebody did sexually harass somebody and you like want to fuck them over back. Like, that's fine. I totally understand that. But if you're gonna sit on it for like an extended period amount of time, and you want to, and you don't get them the proper files and charges, and you don't go to police. You don't let them know that what they've done, and then you take it matters into your own hands, you know, X amount of years later when they've gotten a substantial amount of income, and then you want to fuck them over. Like, that's more sadistic than anything. Because, like, again, going back to, like, what is sexual assault? That could be anything. Sexual harassment, that could be anything in somebody's eyes. You know, it's right. I've never understood it, why somebody can be so harmful and detrimental to somebody's well-being like that.
Right, I honestly don't understand.
If they did nothing, you know, like, granted, if like rape's a whole different subject. I'm not talking about rape here. I'm talking about sexual assault and how much of a blanket term that is. If they raped you and like if you didn't go to the police, like, I still think that's a bit red flaggish, but it's not impossible because I know somebody who did that because their families are going through a lot of shit and they didn't want to stir up the pot anymore. But like. You know, it's just I've never understood it.
I never did either.
But like, if somebody raped me, I would go to somebody instantly. Like, that's ridiculous. Nobody would. But like, not everyone has the same mindset I do, so I try to, you know, give them the benefit of the doubt. But like,
right? I mean,
assault is more, yeah.
Okay, for one, okay, let me put this out there. If anyone has been sexually assaulted or raped or anything in that case, please go to the police as soon as possible. You know, talk to your friends about it. Fucking go to the police. I mean, how the fuck are you gonna get everything all taken care of without fucking without getting some sort of help? I mean, there's help out there. There's hotlines out there and shit like that. Go get help. I mean, don't fucking sit back and be a dick about it and fucking, I should say be a dick about it, but wait 10 years later and fuck someone's life up. Fuck their life up right then and there. I mean, seriously, people. Have some fucking common sense. Fuck. I mean, it's sad that someone got raped or sexually assaulted. It should never go down to that way. It should never. But anyways, but there's different types of rape, you know, everybody knows that, so
like, I've never been too keen to touch up on the subject of like rape and sexual assault because, like, this again, it's a blanket term and it's, you know, used to describe too many things and nobody can really pinpoint as one accurate detail of said definition of whatever. So like, I've never gone too much into detail because, like, I don't know. I know I'm not gonna say anything wrong because I thoroughly tell you the way I view it. Like, if you get raped, like, fuck them over. Do whatever you can to fucking make them pay. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. Like, if they took something away from you, like the safety of your own body, that's fucked up, and that's something that's not cool. That's not something that should ever happen to anybody, and I hope that nobody ever does that.
Right.
But like, comparing like that to like getting, you know, catcalled on the street, like, or something like that, like, that's not. You can't compare it like that. That's two totally different worlds.
A substance dipped in water and oil.
It's ridiculous. Like you could ignore you know, fucking catcalls. You can ignore, you know, people like sitting there saying, "Oh, you're beautiful. God bless. I'm so happy for you." You can ignore that. You know, you can't ignore somebody trying to fucking rape you, and you're in like either the comfort of your own home or somewhere where you feel safe and secure. That's not something you can compare the likelihood to. It's not the way how it rolls. And it makes me so mad whenever people are sitting here and telling me that, like, oh, I was sexually assaulted in the streets. I know what it's like. I was sexually, you know, assaulted. I know what it's like to be raped. No, you don't. That's two totally different worlds.
Right.
Like, there's being sympathetic and there's being borderline there's being borderline, like, I'm not saying like stealing their sympathy, but there's like taking away what they like their value as a person. Like that's what it ultimately comes down to whenever you think about it, because it's ridiculous. I hate it when people do that.
Dijkstra and Triss.
I mean, what about statutory rape? What do you think about that?
I decided we could use
statutory rape?
Yes.
The runes on the bomb. I'm
Too touchy?
dying to know what they mean.
Yeah, a little bit too touchy for me. Evidence. If you have it, use it to your best of your ability. If you don't, DNA samples, DNA tests. You have.
She needs
Alright.
I push DNA tests more than anybody that I know, because like if you go producing raped, for the love of God, get a DNA test so you can prove your case more, so that way they can't take anything away from you. Like, I've always been a big campaigner about that.
All right. Let's put this as an example. And of course, with statutory rape, it is a very touchy subject here. So, well, I had a couple of friends, you know, happened to this to them. They
what I've learned doesn't matter.
Okay, the parents knew about them having sex. One of them was older than the other, of course. But they were dating and they had a bad breakup, and the parents and the person decided to be like, well, it was statutory rape. They didn't give them, you know, the permission for them to have sex, but they did, and the parents really give them the permission. But they got fucked over because they didn't have it in paper.
No, that's not something I agree with. Like, if you're fucking around with somebody who's a bit older than you, and you decide y'all break up, and you decide to, you know, basically say, hey, fuck you, you shouldn't have dumped me, you know, I'm gonna make your life living hell, and you throw that shit on, like, that's vindictive, like, that's inhumane, that's not something I agree with. It's like, if you both are consensuating at that time, yeah, that's another thing, you can't pull away consensual. You can't say that you're consensual 1 second and not the other. That's not how it works. If you willingly had sex with them at that moment in time, there's nothing stopping you. And then you basically want to go back on your word and say, oh yeah, it was consensual, just kidding, haha. No, that's fucked up. That's not something you do. You can't. I don't know why people, it should be fucking legal. Like, you should go to jail. Like, in Texas, this happened. There was a girl who tried to get 3 black dudes in prison because she said that they raped her, right? She put on this whole facade about how she showed up in a church, bloody and like bloody and naked, like she only had like a torn bra off what she was wearing, and you know she tried to get these guys put in jail for almost life. Like she tried to label them as rapists, and now even still after they've been proven innocent, can't go into certain shops without getting the shit beat out of them. Like, and that's fucking sad. And this girl got sentenced, like, not the same amount of time, fucking don't know why, but she got sentenced for the fact of what she tried to do. And I agree entirely with that, because that's ridiculous why you would do something like that to somebody else.
Right.
I think if you're trying to get them in jail and you're trying to, they're not the kind-hearted soul that they are, then I mean, you deserve to serve the same sentence, if not more, because that's ridiculous. You're trying to take them away.
The fuck? But, you know, it's like, I feel bad for that person that happened to them. I mean, I don't change my opinion about them because they're good people. I mean, I felt bad for them, but overall, it's in the past, and that's on their fucking record, unfortunately, you know, and that's like it's fucking stupid. But anywho, I mean, you know, if a person decides to fucking, you know, how can I say this? If a person falls, okay, here's a topic. What if a person falsely accuse someone of rape? That happens all the time. It really does. What do you think about that?
Shit. It's just, I think it's just bugs. I don't understand why people do. I've never understood the way people think, the way people do, and the way people go through other daily lives, the shit they've done.
Glad you're here.
I don't see a reason why people will only fuck people over. I've never understood it. If they have done nothing to you, but given you everything they have, and then something suddenly breaks that off, you don't have that trust anymore. They don't have that trust towards you. It's either they have you. It's either you have them or they have no one. And I don't agree with that. That's sadistic shit. And I'll never agree with that as long as I live.
Yeah, and it's bullshit. I believe the person who falsely accused of someone of raping someone, they should be put in jail themselves.
I agree.
No way.
Like, for the same sentence, if they want to pull that shit, they should be put for the same sentence. That's ridiculous.
Series 2. No such thing as too risky.
It's getting about kinky over here. But anyways, what do you think the sentence should be for falsely accusing rape?
Personally, I think that you should either be given half their sentence or exactly what they were going to be given for the sentence, because you're taking away their livelihood. Like they're going to get fired from their job because you falsely accuse them, regardless if they get put in jail or not. If they get charged, they're not going to have as many friends as they once had because they're going to think they're a rapist. They're not going to have as many people. Their family members are going to look at them the same.
Anyone would do this.
It's awful because people don't understand the repercussions. It's like, it's not the fact that they got falsely charged and they're out, they don't got to go to jail now. It's the fact that they're outside of that. People look at them as a different person. They view them as a lesser of a human being because of that. Even if they got proven false, they still have to live with the fact that people look at them like they're fucking monsters in the streets, and that's fucked up. That's insane. I don't like that. I've never one of our mutual friends, Zach. He's gotten falsely accused of that, and people view him differently. I've never been one to understand it. It's just fucked up. I'll never be able to in my entire life. People do that to themselves, do that to others.
Right.
I'm still asking you to.
And that's unfortunate. Did he go to jail for it after that's been?
No, Zach never went to jail. No.
What happened to the? What happened to the accuser?
Nothing. It was all brushed under the rug.
That's bullshit.
That's sad. Yeah, that's sad, isn't it? Like, he got off scot-free. You know, if we're talking about charges wise, but you know, it still had a huge impact on the way he was viewed in his community, and that's sad.
Do I know this guy?
Yeah, it's great.
Seriously?
What do you want? Here for my reward. What the hell for? For a witch. Recognize her. It's Triss Merigold. Merigold.
I never knew about that.
Yeah, he told me it was it was really fucked up because I've never understood why people do that.
That's.
I've never ever been able to understand it.
How long ago was this? That this happened.
It was back when he was really prominent in Scouts. Like, I can't remember how long ago. I think he said it was his sophomore year. I can't remember.
It's 'cause they do more.
Jesus Christ.
What's a drowner do? Pull the odd fisherman from his.
Well, Zach, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, bro.
They murder kings.
Well, at least you know, nothing happened, you know.
Don't forget turning your cow's milk sour straight out of the udder.
You're done jesting, Marigold.
I don't know.
You're in a cell.
Wow. I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, we had a lot of good topics, but
It's gotten more surreal than anything.
Right.
I'm sure a lot of people
Not so
what we're
fast.
talking about right now.
Over to Mega
You know,
himself. Well,
either
not at
it's
all.
been getting
You reckon we
raped
don't
and
know what to
nobody
do with
believing
this
you,
witch?
or it's being proven innocent of being charged for rape
Vulgar
allegations
tongue's got
and
no place.
still being treated like a common criminal. It's one of the most saddest
I
fates
guess
somebody
we'll
can be
have
in
to
this
rip
world
it
of ours.
out.
Because, like, how can you prove your innocence? You can't, because they already have a fucking image in their mind of what you've done, or what you haven't done, or what somebody's told you that you've done. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you might know how to handle witches when they're brought to you in chains.
What's that supposed to mean?
That you're crap witch hunters if a witcher's gotta do your hunting for you.
Listen here, mutant. Since we entered this town, we've made ashes of over 100.
But anyways,
Doctors and other.
anything else you want to add?
Don't you be telling us how to do our jobs.
No, I
got
think
it?
that's all I got for that subject.
All right.
I haven't had too many instances of that happening to me, so I don't really have any personal stories of myself.
What's it
having
they
to
say?
do that shit.
Yeah, same here.
Quantity. 'Cause if it were about numbers,
But I think I'm going to end this podcast for today. I thank everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Lane, for joining me for the first gamer podcast. So, if you guys lasted this long watching this, please subscribe, like, comment, follow, and all that shit. So, I'll end it right here. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day. So, be kind to one another, help each other out whenever it's possible. I'll see you guys later. Later, everybody.